Hey guys, it's Jane. It's Friday today, so I'm back here for another Friday Reads. Well, what a week. I finished 5 things. 5 things this week, and I've been thinking about how I'm going to talk about them. I think I'm going to try and go reverse chronological order just for something new and different. Last night, I finally finished Alexis Wright's The Swan book. So yay me. It's done, it's finished, it's over. Now I just need to find somebody to explain it to me. Tanya from List Obsessed Reader and I have been doing this as a buddy read. Last I heard she was still not quite finished. When she's finished, the two of us will get together and have a chat, and then maybe I can film a review. But at the moment, I'm still really up in the air about what I'm thinking about this book. Before that, the next most recent thing I finished was the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society by Shaffer and Annie Barrows. This is an epistolary novel set just post-World War II. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. The story of the book is about the German occupation of the Channel Islands during World War II, and it's told from the perspective of a writer, a single woman from London, and gets drawn into the world of this group of folk on Guernsey who during the war formed, initially at any rate as a cover story for some other activities, formed a literary society and used the fellowship, I guess, of this book group as a way of getting through the Nazi occupation. Because it's epistolary, interwoven with all of this stuff is personal stuff that's going on in the life of the writer, i.e. she's being pursued by a wealthy American publisher. In some ways, it was a bit of an emotional mix. Like, we've got the light stuff going on, and we also have the really dark stuff in the recollection about the stuff that went on during the occupation. Although, having said that, I think that the parts of the book where Mark the suitor disappears, I found really heavy going, because although the swing back and forth I found a bit disorienting, when we're just in the middle of the occupation story, that is, parts of it are very, very dark, and yeah, I found that quite difficult reading. So it's certainly an interesting story. It's fiction, but my understanding is that most of the elements of it are based on real events. Yeah, so if you are interested in World War II historical fiction and the idea of an epistolary novel doesn't put you off, it's nice. It is well written, and it moves along, and yeah, everybody I know read this book 5 years ago, and I'm finally getting on the bandwagon. The third thing, going backwards, that I read this week was Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder, which is the first Hannah Swenson mystery by Joanne Fluke. I'm going to do a review of Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder for my Mystery Monday segment next week, so if you're interested, tune in then. The fourth thing that I read heading backwards this week was Cinder by Marissa Meyer, the first of the Ilona Chronicles. This one is a book that I read for my In Real Life book club. It's our pick for the month. I had heard so many reviews of this book. It's a YA retelling of Cinderella in some science fiction-y, future-y setting where Cinderella is a cyborg. That's basically what I knew about the book going in. I also knew that lots and lots of people had enjoyed it. So even though I'm not a big YA reader, I'd heard so many good things about it. My expectations were moderately high. Only moderately because, as I said, I'm not a big YA fan. And what can I say? I enjoyed it. it's a really interesting concept that she starts from. You know, the central character is cute. The Prince Charming character is cute. I don't mind the insta love and stuff, especially when in a fairy tale retelling, because seriously, it's a confection. That's what it's about. But I did have some issues with the book. She uses some really strange wording at times. Let me give you an example of what I mean by strange use of wording. This is from fairly late in the book, so I'm trying to edit out anything that will be like actual plot spoilerage, but let me give you this dialogue. I wish I could be here to help you through it, and I will. I will tell you everything you need to know when you get there. But now it's imminent that you understand why you cannot let her take you. You're the only one who can dethrone her. Do you understand? But now it's imminent that you understand why you cannot. And I'm like, well, what did she actually mean? I'm sure she can't actually have meant imminent, because that doesn't really make sense in this context. It's imperative that you understand. Anyway, because there are a few places where things like this happen, and it really pulls me out of the story when I read something and it doesn't compute, and I'm going, I'm sure that's not what she meant to say. What did she actually mean to say? Yeah, so that was unfortunate. The other thing about this book, one of my absolute pet peeves with books was in full swing of this. There is no ending. None. You are completely left hanging. There is no resolution whatsoever. It's just like, you know, tune in next week for the continuing story. So, you know, because I'm a sucker, I've now been to the library and I've got the second volume, because I wasn't going to buy the second volume. It wasn't good enough that I actually wanted to own it. But yeah. But having said all of that, there was one thing I really loved about this book, and that was this. Do you know how long it is since I read a book and I turned the page and I saw this little guy looking up at me? I got so many warm fuzzies from that. Unbelievable. Okay, so we'll leave it there for Cinder. And the final thing of my 5 things that I read this week was Rat Queens, which is another graphic novel that I read because it was a Hugo pick. I didn't really know anything about this. All I'd heard people saying that they loved it. So this is what I have to say. I did not love this book at all. At all. It made me feel old and grumpy. Nothing substantial happens. People stand around swearing, drinking, taking drugs, and talking about getting laid. It's just, no. The characters are caricaturish, like even more so than I would expect in a cartoon story. I didn't find it funny. It didn't amuse me, and I completely failed to understand what people have found so exciting about this book. So, yeah, I'm a grumpy old woman. That's all I can think of. That's my final explanation. Okay, so that's it. That's what I read. Now, moving on. I am about to get started with Magic Burns by Ilona Andrews, which I'm super excited about. Also, I've just started another one of the shorts from the Humble bundle that I picked up. It's Kelly Armstrong's AmityHorrible, which is a bit of a cute name, which turns out is, by her chronological reading order, number 47 in the Otherworld Stories series. I don't think I realised there was quite that many of these. That's including short stories and novellas and whatever, but number 47? I don't know that I've ever started a series at number 47 before, so we'll see how that goes. The other thing that I'm thinking about reading is I'm thinking about rereading American Gods. Tanya from List Obsessed Reader picked this out of her TBR jar, and it just made me go, you know what? I haven't read this in a while, and I'd love to have another crack at that. And the final thing that I borrowed from the library last week, I'd actually ordered it, and then it came, And I thought, no, there is no way known I'm going to make my way through this in paper. It's just too big. It's the latest in her world with Fitzchivalry and The Fool, and I can't remember what all of those books are actually called, but this is the new one, which is the beginning of another trilogy. I'm just going to have to stump up and buy this for my e-reader because there's no way known I'm going to make that through that in paper, so I'll be taking this one back to the library. But, you know, it's pretty. So that's that. That's me. That's what I've been up to this week. That's what I'm reading this weekend. I hope you're all well, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.